What if the rusty tool sitting in your grandfather's shed is worth more than his truck? A contractor in Vermont was clearing out an old barn workshop last year. He nearly scrapped a crate of junk hand tools before a friend stopped him. 3 tools out of that crate sold separately for over $11,000 combined. Today, we're counting down 12 rusty workshop tools that are quietly worth a fortune right now, and the exact details a dealer checks for before you ever get the chance to. Rust isn't the enemy here. Assumption is, a tool that still works gets kept. A tool that's rusted gets scrapped. A name nobody recognizes gets tossed without a second thought. Simple enough logic. Except it's backwards more often than people realize. The tool collectors working barn cleanouts and estate sales every week know exactly which crate to walk toward first because of it. What follows is everything they're checking for that you're not. Wooden inclinometers and rule levels. Most people assume a folding wooden ruler is worth exactly what it looks like. Cheap, simple, disposable. Look for one with a brass sight built into the hinge and a small spirit level embedded in the body. Do that before you toss it in with the rest of the junk. That combination turns a basic folding rule into a precision measuring instrument, the kind carpenters relied on before anything electronic existed to do the same job. Check for maker names like E. Preston and Sons or Chapin, stamped into the wood or brass. A genuine example is worth $400 to $1,800. Early pattern makers' core box planes. An oddly shaped wooden and iron plane usually gets written off as broken, or built for some strange one-off job nobody remembers. It was, in a sense, just not the way people assume. These were specialty adjustable planes used specifically to shape wooden molds for casting metal parts in industrial foundries. A niche, skilled trade that barely exists anymore. Check for an adjustable sole and an unusual curved cutting profile before assuming it's simply warped or defective. Collectors pay $600 to $2,000 for the real thing. Pre-1900 Coopers, broadaxes, and adzes. Dealers walk straight past the axes everyone else is scrapping. They already know most of them are worth checking twice. A big, oddly shaped old axe head gets tossed in the scrap pile constantly, since it doesn't look like any axe made today. These were hand-forged specifically for timber framing and barrel making, shaped for one precise job, rather than for chopping wood in general. Check near the head for a touch mark, a tiny stamped symbol, initials, or a city name pressed into the iron by the blacksmith who made it. That stamp is basically a signature, and it's the single detail separating a $2 scrap axe from a real find. The going rate runs $500 to $2,000. LS stare at early incline levels. A heavy cast iron level rarely gets a second look. Most of them genuinely are just plain construction tools, nothing more. The ones a dealer wants are different. Look for one with a built-in incline dial, or elaborate filigree scrollwork cast right into the iron body. A level from the late 1800s, built during an era when even a basic tool was expected to look ornamental, not just functional. Check the casting for that scrollwork and dial before assuming it's a generic level worth nothing. Prices land between $600 and $2,500. Antique blacksmith hog splitters and meat cleavers. Sitting at the bottom of an old toolbox, a massive two-handed cleaver mostly just makes people want it gone, not appraised. These were genuinely serious working tools, 20 to 30 inches long, forged by early American edge tool makers like Foster Brothers or L and I.J. White for heavy farm butchering work. Check the blade for a maker's stamp near the spine, before assuming it's just an oversized kitchen knife headed for the scrap pile. Collectors have paid $500 to $2,500 for these. Early 19th century anvils. Most anvils get valued by weight alone, priced like plain scrap iron with a recognizable shape. The real ones are wrought iron, hand-forged with distinctive feet, and stamped with a clear weight and maker's mark. Names like Peter Wright or Mousehole carry real weight with collectors specifically because those makers built anvils meant to survive a working lifetime of hammer blows without cracking. Check the side for a stamped weight and maker name, especially on anything 200 pounds or heavier. That combination pushes the price to $800, sometimes $3,000. Stanley No. 1 Smooth Plane. Here's what trips people up. This is the smallest cast iron plane Stanley ever made, barely 5.5 inches long. It genuinely looks like a toy or a child's tool next to a full-size plane. It isn't. A standard Stanley No. 4 or No. 5, the common size most people actually recognize, is worth $30 to $60. Most sellers already know that number, which is exactly why a tiny plane that doesn't match that size gets dismissed on site. It's also one of the most heavily faked planes on the market, so even sellers who do recognize the name often assume theirs is a reproduction and underprice it anyway. Check the casting quality and the frog adjustment screw against verified reference photos before assuming it's fake. Verified originals sell for $1,200 to $3,500. Spiers of air dovetailed planes. A dark, dense-looking wooden plane with a metal sole doesn't announce itself as anything special sitting on a workbench. This one should. These were built in 19th century Scotland by Stuart Spiers, with hand-dovetailed steel soles and exotic wood inserts. A construction method that required genuine hand-fitting skill, not mass production, which is exactly why so few were ever made. Check for visible dovetail joints where the steel sole meets the sides, and for exotic wood fitted into the body. The market for these sites between $1,000 and $5,000. Quick reality check before we go further. Tool prices online get inflated constantly. A single record auction result gets quoted as if it's the typical outcome for that exact tool. These 12 are different. Every range here reflects real, repeatable sales. Documented auction results and completed sales, not somebody's hopeful asking price on a listing that never actually sold. There's a rule serious collectors use that most sellers never learn. The one rule that costs people the most money without them ever realizing it. Never clean a tool before it's been looked at. A quick wire brushing to make a rusty plane look presentable can strip away the maker's stamp and the original finish and the exact details that prove what it actually is. The dealer would rather buy it rusty and untouched than polished and unprovable. Holtzapffel lathe accessories. A strange metal chuck or cutter head, disconnected from any obvious machine, gets tossed aside constantly. Nobody can tell what it's for. These are high-precision ornamental turning tools, built by 19th century English maker Holtzapffel. Originally used to cut the kind of intricate geometric patterns into wood and ivory that a standard lathe simply couldn't produce. Check for the Holtzapffel name stamped into the metal, and for the fine, precise machining that separates it from a generic factory part. Genuine pieces reach $1,000 to $5,000. Stanley No. 85 or 86 razor edge planes. Most old planes get judged purely by size. A small, unusual-looking plane reads as a lesser, cheaper tool almost by default. These are the opposite. They're ultra-rare specialty planes, designed specifically for sharpening or trimming veneer. Stanley produced them in genuinely tiny numbers compared to their standard product line. Nothing close to the volume of a common number 4. Check the model number stamped on the body, 85 or 86, before assuming a small plane means small value. These command $2,000 to $6,000. Miller's patent Stanley No. 41 or 43 planes. An elaborate cast iron plane with an intricate, almost skeletal-looking body gets mistaken for a damaged or incomplete tool constantly. That open, geometric casting looks broken to an untrained eye. It's the opposite of broken. These 1870s plow planes were deliberately built with that intricate, lightweight casting. Designed to cut grooves and rabbets with adjustable precision, most other planes of the era couldn't match. Check the casting pattern and the number stamped into the body before assuming pieces are missing. Complete examples bring $1,500 to $7,000. Norris infill hand planes. Every tool on this list survived because someone forgot what they were holding. This one survived because the people who made it built something genuinely irreplaceable, and almost nobody outside serious woodworking circles even knows the name, which is exactly why it's the one a dealer prays you overlook. Norris infill planes were built by the legendary Scottish maker T. Norris and Son. The construction alone sets them apart from nearly everything else on this list. Instead of a plain cast iron body, these have thick, dense wood, dark rosewood or mahogany, fitted permanently inside a heavy metal body made of gunmetal or steel. That combination is called an infill. It gives the plane a weight and a smoothness in use that collectors and working craftsmen still specifically seek out today, over a century after the company stopped making them. Most people who find one assume it's just a heavy old plane with some wood damage inside the metal casing. They have no idea that wood was placed there deliberately, by hand, as part of the original design. Check for that thick wood fitted inside a metal body before assuming it's damaged or incomplete. Don't clean it. Get it appraised first. And here's the number that makes all of that worth doing. A genuine Norris infill plane sells for $1,500 to $8,000. It's exactly the plane every serious tool dealer is hoping you haven't noticed sitting in that crate. What the people who actually buy these tools do differently. They check for infill construction first, every single time. If a metal hand plane has thick wood fitted inside a heavy metal body, they stop. They get it appraised before touching it with a wire brush or any cleaner at all. They look closely at the casting itself. Victorian-era tools often carry intricate scroll work, webbed patterns, or brass dials, rather than the flat plain steel modern tools are stamped from. They check near the head of every axe, chisel, and anvil for a touch mark, a tiny stamped symbol, initials, or a city name pressed into the iron by hand. And they know Stanley plane numbers cold. A number 4 or number 5 is a common everyday plane worth $30 to $60, but numbers like number 1, number 2, number 55, number 85, or number 164 command serious money. And most sellers have no idea that number even matters until it's too late. That contractor in Vermont almost sent that entire crate to the scrapyard before his friend stopped him. Yours might be sitting in a shed right now, and you haven't checked either. Drop a comment and tell me which of these you own, which one you already scrapped before you knew better, or which one's sitting in a relative's workshop right now. And if you want the next one, the follow-up video breaks down exactly how to spot a faked Stanley number 1 before you ever pay a collector's price for a reproduction.